Radhe Radhe, welcome to Bhagavad Gita study. Hello, how are you all doing? I hope your study is going well. Today we are going to study fourth verse of the third chapter. Now I already did study this, so I'm just going to go there from Tattva vivecani. The verse is Na karmanam anarambhan naishkarmyam purushoshnute nachas sanyasanad eva siddhim samadhigacchati. Man does not attain freedom from action, culmination of discipline of action, without entering upon action, nor does he reach perfection, culmination of discipline of knowledge, merely by ceasing to act. Now, the chapter starts off as Arjuna asking which one is better. And if you go to the first verse, you will find that if you consider knowledge as superior to action, why then do you urge me to this dreadful action, Keshava? That's his question. You say that knowledge is the path, and then why do you ask me to do this action, which is actually the dreadful action of war? So that is where we are at. Here Lord explains why action and knowledge are not that separate if you look at it. So here the purport says the word Naishkarmyam in this verse refers to the state of perfection in Karma Yoga. He who has attained this state is released from the bondage of action once for all, even though engaged in all sorts of activities in bondage. So the purport calls for 4th chapter, 22nd verse and 41st verse to be referred to. Now, this state is reached only by performing one's duties in a disinterested or selfless way and cannot be attained without performing action. That's what I highlighted, which is very important to understand Naishkarmyam. Naishkarmyam is a word, if you have a Sanskrit dictionary, you can use it. Otherwise, there is something called Wisdom Library online where you get definitions of certain terms in Sanskrit. So here, freedom from action is called Naishkarmya. But freedom from action cannot be obtained by not performing action. Freedom from action can only be attained by performing the action. How this is extremely confusing, so we do need to break down Naishkarmyam here because all these three terms that are given in this verse are extremely overlapping and very, very important to understand the distinctions. I have written them down so that in my further analysis and understanding, I can break these terms down. So, how would you be free from action? That is just by performing what's in front of you. How? We are talking about freedom here. So this action that you're going to perform should not bind you even further. It should only free you. How does it free you? It is to perform that action as a service to the Lord or in a selfless way. Now, usually when you bring in selflessness, it's godliness anyway. So if you don't, I do not want to cater to this, but I do have to, because there is a point, there's a group of people that do not want to bring God at all in Karma Yoga. It's extremely impossible to do Karma Yoga without the concept of a higher power and selflessness, which is godliness again. So something that's bigger than you, something that's for the welfare of everybody, which is godliness, which is spirituality. So if somebody is doing a lot of, let's say, dhanam or charity, it shouldn't bind them even further when they think that they are doing the charity and they're somehow supposed to get gratitude from the people that they are charitable to or the cause that they're charitable to. Then that binds them even further because there's an expectation. So once you bring in selflessness, you're already bringing a higher power, the higher power that guards this universe, runs this universe, and does everything, like sun rises every day. Does it say everybody here has to thank me for rising? No. So that higher power that does its thing because it has to do its thing, just for that, that's Naishkarmya. And that's what Lord is speaking here, that we need to imbibe that for us to be even free from action. What exactly is freeing ourselves from action? That is not for you not to do anything, rather the action is selfless and you are free that way. So that's what I wrote. There is no way out of action by not performing your duties. The duties have to be performed. Then the Lord has instructed Arjuna to give up attachment for action and desire for its fruit, and declared that such renunciation would lead to freedom from the bondage of action. The second chapter, 51st verse has been quoted here. I wrote the verse down there so that I understand the cohesiveness of the message. And then I also underlined and highlighted another verse quoted, 6th chapter, 3rd verse. Then let not your attachment be to inaction. I have underlined and highlighted that. Because when somebody says freedom from action, just like that, the word freedom from action, okay, let me not perform action is what people would think. But that's not what we are speaking about here. Performing the action and being free from it. That is, not letting it bind us even further. That's what we are speaking about. And then the word siddhim in this verse refers to the perfection in jnana yoga. So he's also talking about jnana here. Nacha sannyasana eva siddhim is what he's saying. Siddhim refers to jnana yoga. So attaining this state, the sadhaka identifies himself with Brahma. He no longer perceives any difference between the soul and the oversoul and becomes one with Brahma. This is Parabrahma, not the Brahma who creates. That is why the state has been designated as Siddhi or perfection. This perfection in jnana yoga is attained by performing the duties appropriate to one's social order and stage in life without claiming their doership, renouncing the sense of possession, attachment and desire in respect of all enjoyments through constant practice of meditation on God as identical with the self and not merely by renunciation of action. So I wrote two terms here, which is Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva. Lord here speaks about sannyasana, which is sannyasa is just giving up, right? What exactly is being renounced? A true sannyasi does not actually renounce actions. Rather, he renounces actions, fruits, the fruits that come from the action. That's what is being renounced. Now, observe true sannyasis. Observe Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's life, or observe Sri Ramana Maharishi's life. Observe Kanchi Paramacharya's life. If you are, from Karnataka, look at all the Udupi Mutts, sannyasis. These are amazing people. There's so much service that happens in these institutions. They go into, so many affected people's areas. They perform so much action. There's so much action. There's absolutely no inaction there. They're not sitting in a cave. And Ramana Maharishi used to cook along with the ladies in the kitchen, and he would always keep writing something. He would do so many things. He wouldn't speak, but he would do so much. So there's actually so much action that's being performed by a sannyasi, right? A true sannyasi. Of course, there are people in Himalayas in a cave. We're not talking about them, and it's all case to case. So everything that is spoken here is for us, not for others. So if you were to take somebody who ran away from home because there was too many debts that he had to clear, or some nagging wife he ran away from, and he claims himself to be a sannyasi, that's a different thing. That is up to him. This is for us to understand what exactly has to be renounced. So we have to renounce the fruits of the action, and that's exactly what sannyasanat is. So if a person has let go of the fruit of action, and he also has performed the action in a selfless way, that's where two objectives are met. One, He's become a perfect karma yogi and also a perfect jnana yogi. That's what Lord is saying here. And then again I had underlined, highlighted anarambhat and sanyasanat, both the terms. And then after reading the purport, what I have done is to look into the katrutva and bhoktrutva. So the feeling that I am doing the action binds you more. That's exactly what we need to give up. And bhoktrutva, the feeling that I'm enjoying its fruit. So somehow in this action and its consequence, good and bad, we're talking about good and bad, somewhere the feeling of I, the wrong I, which is uh, the wrong or mistaken identity. That's the word. Mistaken identity of the I, which is actually not the real soul I, this real Atma. So if you are not bringing in that and you're thinking you somehow this body, mind and ego complex is doing the action, it binds you even more. So kartrutva bhava has to be given up. Bhoktutva bhava, where something good has happened from your hands, somehow God has made you an instrument to do a charity or something, you made someone happy. Let's take a simple thing. You bought somebody a coffee, a stranger, or you just put like 500 rupees in the hands of a beggar, and you're feeling extremely ecstatic, not because not because of anything else, but you feel like your ego is like, you will know, so you feel like you have suddenly become a great person. Then that's going to bind you even more, because that is enjoying its fruit as I the body, I the mind, and I the ego. That needs to be left or given up. How is that going to happen? That is to address the raga and dvesha. Somehow, if we are addressing the attachment and aversion and making them balanced, if you are sama dukkha sukha, and that thing goes away, the katrutva and bhoktrutva bhava goes away. Once that goes away, you're automatically a karma yogi and jnana yogi, because your actions are springing forth not from the mistaken identity, but as an Atma that is a reflection of Paramatma or a part of Paramatma. So these three terms need to be completely given attention to. Naishkarmyam, actionless action, freedom from action. Sanyasanat, which is renunciation. Anarambhat, an plus arambha. So without the toil, without the hard work. So without the hard work, renunciation, no action, all these are so misleading and overlapping, which may lead you to think, okay, let me not do anything. Just like Arjuna said, I just want to sit and do tapas. Is that going to be possible? No, he's a Kshatriya. He is tasked with the duty of upholding dharma. So he definitely has to do what is right in front of him, what God has put forth for him to do. So that is the summary that I got from it. It needs further work. It's like, you see me, I have done these. I have listened to Swami Sarvapriyananda's explanation for this verse, then took notes, also read the purport. Then I may come back to this as well, layers and layers and layers of things that keep coming. You need to go back to the verse, as I said in my previous videos. You go back to the verse, you sit with the verse. And there's something else that I do sometimes when I really want to bask in its glory and beauty. What we do, we take one word, Arambanat, right? Just take this word. Write it down. Write its meaning. Write your thoughts about it. Write what it says. So it says verse number. And then term, which is important. Meaning. I do this sometimes because that itself gives you. And then what it denotes in this verse. And finally, what I say, what it has given me. With this anarambhat, which is without toil, what do I get? How do I get to the stage where I do the action, but it doesn't feel like I've done much? I'm doing it so effortlessly without all the noise. How would one get there? That's my question that I answer in my study. Okay, first thing I can do is to address raga and dvesha in every situation. Second thing I can do is to perform the action without the need to be recognized or praised, something like that. And then what happens, that sting in the action goes away. That sting, if it goes away, the action flows easily, rather than me going crazy. I just do the action just for the sake of performing. And every artist knows this at one level. Somebody is singing, somebody is playing an instrument. There comes a point where this person is completely identified with the music he is playing. So there is no need for anybody's claps. There you don't see two things. You see the performance, the music alone. You're not even looking at the performer. They become one and merged. That's anarambhat. That is where without any resistance or toil, action performs freely, beautifully, as a surrendered thing. So that's how I do. Sometimes I go back to something and do. That's something that you can do too if you really want to get very deep with the study. Hope this study session was useful to you, and we will meet you soon with another verse. I hope you're all studying well. I hope you're all loving Gita, loving Krishna, Yogeshwara, our teacher, and I hope you all having a great week and a weekend. See you soon. Radhe Radhe.